Hello, in this video we are going to talk about advanced title records, items which appear in title records which are not typical and have more complexity than just a typical deed or lien or mortgage. And in no particular order, the first one we see are easements. A property easement is something which grants a right to a property, usually to an adjacent landowner. In many cases it's a right to travel across a property for, let's say, a driveway or for a road to get to a landlocked property. In some cases easements are given to municipal agencies for a sidewalk, maybe for a road buffer or a place to put a sign. And the last most common type of easement are for utilities, where you want to get power lines or sewer pipes to your house. You have to grant that utility company an easement to get it there. It's important to know where these easements are, who they're granted to, and if they come along with other rights of ingress and egress. For example, if there's a power pole on the back of your property to get power lines or cable TV or phones, that power company might have the right to come across your property to fix that pole. By the same token, if there are pipes going underneath the land, they may have the ability to come in and dig up to fix those pipes. So looking up what those easements are, knowing where they're located, is an important part of property ownership. The second thing that's really advanced that we see are mineral rights, any subsurface rights on a property. It could be oil and gas leasing, it could be mining for different minerals or coal. It may also be even water rights, riparian rights on a property. Typically these, like easements, have been recorded a long time prior to the current ownership. They're usually split off as a separate deed chain at some point in history. That's why a standard title search may not show these items unless they were recorded very recently. But mineral rights are a valuable commodity for a property owner. If you have the mineral rights to your property and it's discovered that there's some type of valuable commodity, oil, gas, coal, or whatnot, those can be sold, or the royalties can be sold to an excavation company or a petroleum company to use those items. And it may come again with rights to come across your property to install equipment or to service equipment on another property. With mineral rights, there's also the possibility of pooling agreements, where all the properties together in a neighborhood pool their resources and they drill one well. They can access all of the oil from underneath a multitude of properties, and those pooling agreements are important to keep an eye on. If you do have a property in an area where mineral rights are common, it's good to check to see if they're still attached to the property or if they were split off at some point in history. If they were split off, are they dormant? Can you get them back? Do you have royalties coming to you? Are you entitled to any of the profits? Check those things out. You don't want to throw money away that's coming to you. The third type of very complex land record is called a life estate, where property is deeded to somebody for them to own or use for the term of their life, and then once they become deceased, the property goes to somebody else. So just because a person has ownership in a property and even living in the property doesn't mean they have complete ownership forever and that they can even sell it. They may not be able to sell it to another person. It may revert back, and that's called a reverter clause to a prior owner. That's similar to what's called a remainder interest, where if you sell a property to somebody and then once they become deceased or something happens, the property or a portion of it reverts back to somebody else. A fifth and important complex title record to think about, but it's not very uncommon anymore, are foreclosures. A foreclosure is a forced sale on a property. It comes with a lot of baggage on that property. It's basically a title defect until that foreclosure is cleared and sold and the end user has it. There's a lot of probable clouds and encumbrances that stick with that property, which is one of the reasons why title insurance companies are unlikely to write a policy on a property that's currently in foreclosure. Many of these types of records are shrouded by the most recent deed. If you look at the current deed and what goes along with that, you may not see the easements or mineral rights and life estates that happened before that current deed. So you have to look back farther to catch up with those, and look deep too. Look deep in the records at all the names, all the ownerships, to see if any advanced title records are occurring on that property. Easements, mineral rights being the most common. So if you want more information on these, click the link on the bottom of the video. It goes to titlesearch.com. There's a video library with several hundred videos about different subjects. If you think of somebody else who would benefit from seeing this video or any of the others, certainly share this link with them so they can get the same knowledge that you did. And then we'll see you on the next video about title records research.